Today we are going to discuss some of the important questions from agriculture engineering, mainly SMAM subsidy schemes. If you see the first question, power generated in the engine cylinder and received by the piston is known as. So the power which is generated in the engine cylinder and which will be received by the piston. So that what we call dirt power. If you see the options, brake horsepower, belt horsepower, drawbar horsepower, indicated horsepower, frictional horsepower. See, if you see brake horsepower, what is it mean by the power which is delivered by the engine at the end of the crankshaft. So at the end of the crankshaft, which delivers the power, then we call it as the brake horsepower. It can be measured by the dynamometer. And if you take the P2HP, power take horsepower. So this is the horsepower which is available for running the implements with the tractor. So this is the used for running the implements with the tractor. And if you see the indicated horsepower, this is the power generated in the engine cylinder and received by the piston. So what question we asked here? The power generated in the engine cylinder and received by the piston is known as. So the answer is indicated horsepower. And if you see next one, power tiller was introduced in India in the year. So in India, in which year power tiller was introduced? Let's see what is meant by power tiller. Power tiller is a machine which is used for the field operations, and it is a walking type tractor. We call it as a walking type tractor, which contains two wheels for it. And the concept of power tiller came in the world in the year 1920. So in 1920, the concept was came, and the first successful country which is which introduced the or which designed the power tiller is Japan, which is in 1947. And when it comes to India, the power tiller was introduced in the year 1963. So the answer is 1963, option C. Next, the biggest source of biogas in rural India. So what is the main source, primary source of the biogas in rural India? If you see the options, husk. Husk is a compound which will get from the paddy. Then vermicompost, fossil fuel, urea, and cow dung. So in this, you all know about this, that cow dung is mostly available. It is a most abundant source for the biogas which is available in the rural India. So the answer is cow dung. Next, the process of detaching the grains from warheads is known as. So that means separating the grains from the warheads, what we call it as. If you see the options, winnowing is nothing but the blowing of air to clean the chaff. And if you see the reaper is nothing but it is a machine which cut grain crops. It is a machine which cuts the grain crops. And if you see swath is nothing but the material which is harvested is laid on the land after a machine which cuts the crop, and after harvesting the stock which is coming out from the machine which is laid on the land surface, then we call it as the swath. And the other is threshing. Threshing is nothing but the process of detaching of grains from warheads. So if you see, this is the answer. That means we are separating the grains from the stock. And the other option also, you see, mower. Mower is nothing but it is a machine which cuts the herbage crops and leave them in a swath. So the answer is threshing. And next question, thermal efficiency of diesel engine varies from. So the thermal efficiency of a diesel engine varies from, if you see the options, 16 to 22%, 20 to 26%, 25 to 32%, 38 to 45%, and 32 to 38%. You can see in difference between the diesel engine and petrol engine. Mainly we can find main difference is thermal efficiency. The thermal efficiency of diesel engine is 32 to 38%. So the option is E. Next, field capacity of tractor drawn power harrow. So power harrows are mainly used for the mainly used in the secondary tillage implement. That means they are used for the in preparing the seed beds, and power harrows are mainly used for the plowing purpose. That means they may take only up to shallow depth. They go only shallow depth. So if you see the options, 2.5 hectare per day, 1.5 hectare per day, 3 hectare per day, 3.5 hectare per day, and 4 hectare per day. So the answer is 1.5 hectare per day. So a tractor and power harrow field capacity is 1.5 hectare per day. And next question, most important tillage implement which provides fine degree of pulverization is. So that means which implement is used for the fine degree of pulverization. That means very small particles. If you see power harrow, recent question we have discussed that power harrow is a secondary tillage implement. That means it can plow only a shallow depth, so it will not pulverize. Just it plows the land. And if you see the disc harrow, and disc harrow is nothing but is a type of a harrow. That means it is also a secondary type implement. It is also used for the shallow plowing. And chisel plow, which is used in primary tillage, which is used in the starting stage of the cultivation. That means it opens up the land. It opens up the land surface, but it will not pulverize the. Then next is scraper. Scraper is a tool which is attached to the disc of a plow or disc harrow. This is used for the removing the soil which is attached to the disc. That means which is stick to the disc. That sticked soil can be removed by using this scraper. And if you see the rotavator is the answer, because rotavator is an implement which pulverizes the soil. We called it also rotary tiller. This pulverizes the soil to a fine degree. This is directly mounted to the tractor, and it is operated with the tractor. What it consists of a steel frame and a 3 hitch point system and a rotary shaft on which the blades are mounted, and the power is transmitted from the transmission system and a gearbox. By using this, the rotary tiller is operated. And if you see the next question, the process of placing the seeds in holes made in the seed bed and closing the seed with the soil is known as. So the process, in this process, what we do, we have to open the soil and we have to place the seeds. And that means we have to make the holes there. So by making holes, implement is used for this process. That implement we call it as the dibbler. So by naming that implement, we can come to these options. We are having the option dibbling. So in this process, dibbling is the answer. And if you see other options, drilling is nothing but we use seed drill implement here, and broadcasting is nothing but scattering of the seeds. Transplanting is nothing but we have to transplant. That means we have to take the seedlings and we have to transplant them. And row planting is nothing but we have to plant here we have to plant the seedlings. Next, you can see here dibbling is nothing but it is a process of placing the seeds in holes which are made in the seed bed, and we have to close the seed with the soil. Next question, the undistributed soil surface by the side of the furrow is known as. So this is regarding the furrow terminology. If you see furrow terminology, furrow is nothing but a trench which is formed by the soil when an implement is operated in the field. And the furrow slice is nothing but it is a mass of soil cut. and which is lifted and thrown to one side of the one side. That means which is cut and lifted and thrown the soil one side. Then we call it as the furrow slice. And if you see next, furrow wall is nothing but it is an undistributed soil surface. That means this undistributed soil surface uh, by the side of a furrow. That is furrow wall. And if you see the crown is nothing but the top portion. When the furrow slice is turned, the portion which is on the surface, we call it as the top portion. The top portion we call it as the crown. So here for what's the question? Soil surface by the side of the furrow. Side of the furrow is nothing but it forms like a wall. A furrow which forms like a wall, then we call it as the furrow wall. Next, as per SMAM scheme 2016-17, this is the according to the report of 2016 and 17, what percent of subsidy is given for women for purchase of tractor of less than 20 degrees bhp, that means brake horsepower? What percentage will be given for a woman for purchasing a tractor? If you see, according to operational guidelines, for SC, ST, small and marginal farmers, and also for women and any states beneficiary, the percentage will be 35%. For equipment or for machine, 35% assistance will be given. That means 1 lakh rupees for 18 to 15 P2O HP operated tractor, and also for 15 to 20 P2O HP operated tractor. And for other beneficiaries, it is 25% only. So the answer is here 35%. Next, if you see this, we are providing just for rupees 999 with the complete latest pattern syllabus, and we also provide summary sheets for the quick revision, and we'll be given interview guidance, and detailed PDF will be available with 30 full-length mock tests. So make use of it and go through it. You will be benefited. Thank you.